Okay, ladies, gents, boys and girls, Papa Smoke back again with another video. Okay, so today's video is on Ogun Feray. Ogun Feray himself is a very powerful, very important Lua, and in Vodou, people work with him to remove blockages and all sorts of things. He's worked with by military, by high-ranking politicians, and by regular civilians alike. So he's a very, very, very important, powerful, prominent Lua. Now, himself, he's from the Nago Nation. He's the chief of all warriors, and he's known as the god of blood and iron. An interesting fact about him is on the altar of Ogun Feray, people keep an iron cauldron in which they place things like knives and other iron bladed implements. Now, it's believed amongst Vodou practitioners that Ogun will then use these knives left out for him to remove obstacles from your life. So it's a very important thing, and indeed one of the ways you do an action de grace to him, which we'll cover in a bit, involves either using an iron cauldron or a strip of iron. So he's also the patron of civilization and technology. So he loves weapons, but he also loves technology too. He's responsible for tools of progress, such as farming equipment, and surgeons' knives and things like that, for example. He commands leaders of society, like I was saying before, things like the police, doctors, military, government, courts, etc., etc. He's a very strong and powerful and very triumphant presence, but at the same time, it can be an incredibly dangerous and painful lure if crossed. Ogun is said to have given power to the slaves in the Haitian Revolution of 1804, and some people say that he even led them spiritually as well in their struggles. He's petitioned by people to obtain things like to make if he's like when I mentioned he's petitioned by civilians, it's usually to make things like government officials more sympathetic to their needs. He gives strength through prophecy as well, and is obviously quite good at working with for magic. He's also associated with locomotives. Remember, I said earlier he likes iron and he likes technology. Well, locomotives, they're his thing. He loves trains. So you can leave offerings for him at the railroad or train tracks. He does like rum, he likes knives, he likes railroad ties, so you know those railroad spikes, and like weaponry. I once made him a spear in his colour with a green tip. His colours are green and red. The saint is associated with is Saint George. So if you work with the saint and psalms in your practice, you can identify with him as Saint George. The day you would pay his action de grace would be on a Wednesday. Now, working with him is relatively simple. You just need to know to show him respect. Obviously, demands respect as the chief of all warriors. If treated correctly, it can be an extremely beneficial protective force and is even capable of helping remove obstacles from your life, like I said before. Traditionally in Haiti, Ogun Feray is served with red scarves. Some other members of the Ogun or Naga Nation will use other colours, but Ogun Feray himself is usually served with red, but in a pinch you can either use plain white or blue. He likes machetes, so you can place one of those on his altar. I have a machete with him again. The sheath's in his colour, it's green. Along with sort of like images of the saints associated in, or with him, or an iron pot, similar to a cauldron, with like I said, iron or steel knives in it. You can associate him with St. George as well, so you can have images of St. George on your altar. It's easier to find prayer cards and pictures of St. George online than it is of finding Ogun Feray, but a good place to find prayer cards anyway is the Voodoo Shop. It's literally called that online, thevoodooshop.com. What else can I think of telling you now? Right, on a Wednesday, to pay, I promised I'd talk to you about as action de grace. So action de grace is the way you build a relationship up with a lua. So when you work with a spirit, you build a relationship up with it, yeah? And the better relationship you've got with it, the better results manifest, and the better and the more present it is in your life, yeah? So the action de grace for him to be done on a Wednesday is you take your machete you've got for him and a bottle of rum, and you bang the machete on the bottle of rum while saying out loud, "Ogun, this is for you. Ogun, I've got you a present. Happy Wednesday." And then you go over to your altar and you take the knives out, and this has to be high proof rum because it has to be rum that will ignite. You pour the rum, high proof, so I'd say above 70% proof. You pour it in the cauldron and light it because the fire is now chemical transformation and it puts the rum in the realm of the spirits for Ogun to take, and he lights it that way, yeah? If you can't afford or don't have a cauldron, use a small strip of iron, a few drops of rum on it, light it. Same sort of thing, yeah? Okay, so that's how you pay action to grace with him. In my book, Rootwork Conjures Magic and Wonders, there's a home protection where you can make a witch's ball involving railway spikes, but it's better to make one at each corner of the house. This is quite good because with him being the chief of all warriors, it's quite a strong, commanding, intimidating process. At rituals, I've seen people that appear to be quite small and timid, all of a sudden seem quite big and quite masculine, like warrior dancing kind of thing, and like have completely changed with a different aura, and that's when he's riding them. Anyways, any additions, any comments, leave in the bottom. Any questions, leave in the bottom. Keep things respectful. Have a good day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which don't leave you a right lot. I bubble the what. Much love, my brothers and sisters out there, from my house to each and all of yours. See you.